NMH at 1 highlights the news making waves ranging from current affairs, community stories, sports and economic news. Here are the news headlines. Meeting of the Budget Committee of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association Africa region underway in Windhoek. Namibia holds breath as Norway reviews African meat imports. And brave warriors to take on Mali in round of 16 campaign. I am Diana Master, midday news update coming right up. The Usakos Town Council has warned road users to be careful on the road between Usakos and Karibib as renovations have started on the road. The project is expected to continue until March 2025, and the Town Council has asked drivers to limit their speed to 60 kilometers an hour when using the road. Visual News highlights local stories from across Namibia right after the break. Stay with NMH at 1.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouth-watering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
Getting into today's visual news clips, the Parliament of Namibia is hosting a meeting of the Budget Committee of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association Africa region, which commenced yesterday and will continue until the 26th, which is on Friday. The committee is in charge of organizing, facilitating and formulating recommendations of the association's financial investments. Jemima Ndebele has more.
Namibia is a member of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association Africa, also known as the CPA Africa, which consists of 63 national and subnational legislatures. It is expected that on Thursday, Honorable Lucas Moha, chairperson of the National Council of Namibia, will formally open the meeting. At the moment, he also serves as the CPA Africa Executive Committee's vice chairperson. The committee meeting will convene together delegates from 5 member states, including that of Gauteng's provisional legislature as well as KwaZulu-Natal's legislature. Other delegates who are members of parliament are expected to attend and will come from Botswana, Mauritius, Nigeria and Tanzania.
In our next story, John Mutora, Minister of Works and Transport this morning, said he is eager to see more bills, especially the Public Passengers Bill, making it to Parliament. He further called for decentralisation of the ministry's functions and urged the Roads Authority to speed up the completion of feeder roads in rural areas. Let's have a look.
He or she is the manager. All the requisitions and still not electronic papers must be sent to this lady here in Windhoek for signing, for authorizing. I mean, it's just too cumbersome. So the issue of the decentralization, like what we did with the maintenance function, the regional council are doing it now. We are not a federal state, we are a unitary state. We are not saying that the center is the overall checking. But the regions must have certain powers. And government garage, please move. I don't want to see these papers and papers. People are tired signing, and every year you go. But you are doing well, together with your colleagues in the Ministry of Urban. We must just speed up that thing so that things can move.
Namibian Sun leads us into the newspaper review segment on the other side of this commercial break. Stay tuned.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Thank you for staying with NMH at 1. We now take a look at what the lead stories are in Namibia's daily newspapers. Starting us off on the Namibian Sun front page, a 15-year drought in the Kunene region has forced dogs, donkeys, goats, pigs and people residing near the Opo landfill to scavenge for food that has been disposed of. The landfill is a filthy eyesore to visitors, but to some residents it is the source of their daily meals. When Namibian Sun visited the landfill on the 15th of January, the day the academic year commenced for public schools, a group of children of school-going age ran towards the car, hoping it was someone who had arrived to dispose of waste. The young boys aged between 8 and 12 said they only attend afternoon classes. From the waste they get spoiled food or material for recycling. On the paper's page 3, Namibia is set to establish a Parliamentary Service Commission during the 7th session of Parliament, which will help streamline the recruitment of staff that support Namibia's 2 houses of Parliament. The establishment of the Commission is contained in the National Assembly Strategic Plan 2023 to 2027, which outlines various interventions that are in the works to improve the work of Parliament. Outlining the rationale behind the Commission, the strategic document said it was a constitutional requirement that it be established. Republican on its front page reports that on Sunday afternoon, Abid, a community campaigner for the Namibian Animal Welfare Association, delivered shocking news to Janine van Rooyen, the chairman of NAWA. He sent photos of 2 horses that were badly neglected and starving. The one horse was too weak to stand. We acted immediately and provided food and water, he was quoted as saying. Abid spent the night with the horses to take care of them and look after them throughout the night. Moving over to the paper's page 3, a grant agreement was signed to provide $1 million, about 19 million Namibian dollars at the current exchange rate annually, in funding over a period of 50 years to the Skull Coast Etosha Conservation Area in northwestern Namibia. The Skull Coast Etosha area is a conservation bridge spanning several conservation areas, connecting 2 national parks and embracing the first People's Park, a new conservation category that expands the formalization of community conservation. According to the Legacy Landscapes Fund, the above agreement promises annual funding for at least 5 decades to the region, which consists of several protected and environmental conservation areas. Tian Lewis, Managing Director and Director of Luco Holdings, believes that all the facts indicate that the majority shareholder intends to completely divest the mine of all movable assets with no intention of settling the mine's debts first. That is what Allgemeine Zeitung in today's publication is opening with on its front page. The transfer of the movable assets of Sperbeet diamond mining is an attempt to gain an unfair advantage in the period between the filing of the winding up petition of SDM and the granting of such an order. Luco Holdings Managing Director and Director Tian Lewis said this in a statement in support of an urgent application filed in the Windhoek High Court against SDM. On page 2, Allgemeine Zeitung is attending to the WWF, which is providing considerable financial resources to create and maintain the first giant nature reserve, the so-called People's Park in Namibia. However, the idea has existed since 1907, but was modified in the 1970s. The World Wildlife Fund announced on Monday that it has signed a grant agreement with the Legacy Landscapes Fund for over $1 million per year for at least 50 years for the region. This will provide significant funding for the planned Skeleton Coast Etosha Bridge Conservation Area. We continue with our newspaper review segment after the break. Stay tuned.
Neo Paints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neo Paints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neo Paints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
Continuing with our newspaper review segment, on the Namibian newspaper's front page, the Road Fund Administration says that it has recorded a total revenue of 2.3 billion Namibian dollars during the 2023 financial year. This is contained in the fund's annual report for the 2023 financial year. Chief Executive Ali Ipinge in the report says despite this, the fund's revenue, which is mainly derived from fuel levies, suffered a 7% decline. Ipinge said the fund has maintained its solvency and liquidity position despite these changes. Onto the paper's page 3, the Namibian police are seeking the help of a forensic expert in road accidents from South Africa to conduct an investigation at Indangungu village in the Oshana region, where Police Inspector General Joseph Shikongo was involved in an accident a year ago. This is according to a letter dated the 10th of January, written by the Deputy Inspector General of the Police, Elias Mutota. Mutota's letter is in response to a petition drafted by the families of the 3 people who died in the accident, handed over on the 30th of December at Ondango Police Station. The families have staged a demonstration demanding for the removal of Shikongo from his position as head of the police. Onto the New Era's front page, a Karibib family found itself reeling and grieving again after a contentious dispute with Osino Resources as the latter exhumed ancestral graves to pave the way for business. The exhumation by the mining company is to make way for gold explorations as part of Twin Hills project. Osino Resources, a Canadian gold exploration and development company, is focused on the expedited development of the wholly owned Twin Hills gold project in central Namibia. The Zambezi Health Directorate has alerted Namibians traveling to neighboring Zambia to take precautionary measures against the cholera outbreak, which continues to claim many lives and leave thousands hospitalized. Zambia has been battling an outbreak since last October, with 12,719 cases and 498 deaths recorded since then. Now, according to Market Watch, Gulf Energia's discovery of light oil in its Mopane 1X well in the Orange Basin offshore Namibia represents a substantial stride in positioning the country as a major energy player in Africa and on the global stage, aligning with recent successes in the country's upstream sector. This statement was made by the executive chairman of the African Energy Chamber, NJ Ayuk, following Gulf's announcement. Now, after the break, Namib Desert Diamonds intends to buy diamonds again this month after its last purchases were made in September. Stick around for this story coming up in economic news.
Hi, Sonia.
Hi, Tufini. What are you reading?
I'm reading about the Child Care and Protection Act. In this pamphlet I got from school.
What's that?
It is Namibia's main law for the children and the issues affecting them. The act classifies here that a child is anyone under the age of 18 years. Check out some of the rights meant to protect you. For more information, contact the Children's Advocate.
For more information, contact the Children's Advocate Namibia in the Office of the Ombudsman on 061 20 73 111. Send us an SMS on 20401. SMS costs 40 cents. You can also send us a message via our Facebook page. Remember, the services of the Children's Advocate are free of charge.
In economic news this afternoon, Namibia's beef exports to Norway might be impacted by the Nordic country wanting to review African meat quotas. The national and Norwegian daily newspapers reported that the trade pattern for African meat into Norway has changed and that its Agriculture and Food Minister Geir Pollestad will now review changes to the quota system to see if it is in conflict with current agreements. Namibia and Botswana share an annual 3,200-ton beef export quota to Norway under the generalized system of preferences, as well as a trade agreement between the Southern African Customs Union and the European Free Trade Association. Norway serves as one of the most important and lucrative markets for the two countries' beef sectors. Meatco has been Namibia's leading supplier of the quota over the years, and between 2013 and 2020, it led the way with the delivery of 10,400 tons of meat to the Norwegian quota. It is reported that Nortura, one of Norway's largest food producers, recently met up with state-owned Botswana Meat Commission. BMC engages in the procurement, slaughtering, processing and marketing of beef and beef products in Botswana for sale in local and international markets. Instead of meat being brought through quotas from African countries, meat is now imported via the European market at a much more reasonable price. Now let's take a look at the financial indicators. The Namibian dollar trades at 23.99 to the British pound, 20.52 to the euro, 18.86 to the US dollar, and 2 Namibian dollars and 65 cents buys you 1 Chinese yuan. All of these selected NSX stock closing prices maintained. Overall index closed in a downturn of 1.88%, while local index maintained. All commodities are up save for Brent crude oil, which took a dip of 0.04%, now trading at $79.56 per barrel. Kenyan cult leader Paul Mackenzie has been charged with 238 counts of manslaughter. The full report coming up as we head into African news after the break.
E-Ticket, your online ticket solution for events and event marketing, bringing you ease of mind and making sure that your event gets out there. For more information, contact events@nmh.com.na.
We now expand beyond Namibia's borders to bring you the latest news right here on the African continent. Kenyan cult leader Paul Mackenzie has been charged with 238 counts of manslaughter along with his wife and 93 other alleged accomplices. The additional charges come after Mr. Mackenzie and his suspected accomplices were charged with terrorism last week. He is accused of encouraging members of his Good News International Church to move to Shakahola, a remote forest in coastal Kenya, and starve to death in order to meet Jesus. The bodies of 429 people, including children, have been dug up from the gravesites in the forest. Most showed signs of starvation, but some, children among them, may have been assaulted. The 238 victims were killed on unknown dates between January 2021 and September 2023 in Shakahola, local media reported, citing court documents. Mackenzie and the other suspects pleaded not guilty during their appearance in a court in the coastal city of Mombasa on Tuesday. Mackenzie has been in custody since his arrest in April last year. A man has been arrested on suspicion of 77 murders after telling a public inquiry he started last August deadly fire in a Johannesburg building. The 29-year-old confessed while giving evidence at the inquiry, police said. Last year, fire gutted the Usindiso building in Marshalltown, where many poor people were living, claiming 77 lives and leaving many injured. The tragedy highlighted the issue of buildings abandoned or neglected by their owners in South Africa. A South African police service spokesperson said the suspect, who cannot be identified, is expected to appear in court soon. He is also expected to face charges of arson and 128 counts of attempted murder. The individual confessed to being involved in starting the tragic fire while giving evidence during a session of the inquiry, police said. The Usindiso building was home to hundreds of people, some of the poorest people in South African society. Such abandoned buildings are often left without basic services such as water and electricity or fire safety measures, and are sometimes hijacked or taken over by criminals who make demands on residents. We'll be right back with international news right after this. In international news this afternoon, Canada this week announced a 2-year cap on international student visas to ease the pressure on housing, healthcare and other services at a time of record immigration. Immigration Minister Mark Miller said that there will be a 35% reduction in new study visas in 2024. He said that institutions offering sham degrees have exploited the international students program, putting pressure on housing and healthcare. It's a bit of a mess and it's time to rein it in, Miller was quoted as saying. The number of of new visas handed out will be capped at 364,000. Nearly 560,000 such visas were issued last year. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's cabinet retreat in Montreal this week will prioritize affordability and housing, according to a government statement. The government said that there are about 1 million foreign students in the country now, and without any intervention, this number would keep increasing. The total number of foreign students is more than 3 times what it was a decade ago. Miller said that officials have been working on stabilizing the number of people entering the country yearly as housing pressures mount. Canada grew by about 1 million people last year, reaching a record of 40 million as many Canadians struggle with an increased cost of living, including rents and mortgages. You cannot bring in 1.25 million people a year, but only create 300,000 homes on average and think you're not going to have a structural problem on housing, TD Bank Group Chief Economist Beata Karansi said at the Economic Club of Canada's 2024 Annual Economic Outlook earlier this month. Now, a Japanese man who admitted starting a fire that killed 36 people at an anime studio in 2019 faces a possible death sentence on Thursday when a court delivers its verdict. The July 2019 arson attack at the studios of Kyoto Animation was Japan's deadliest crime in decades and stunned the huge film and TV cartoon industry and its fans around the world. Shinji Aoba faces 5 charges including murder, attempted murder and arson, and prosecutors are seeking capital punishment. Many of those killed in the blaze were young, including a 21-year-old woman. More than 30 others were injured. Aoba has admitted he committed the attack, though his lawyers have entered a plea of not guilty due to mental illness. Stick around, we'll be right back with our sports news.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraifa. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
Getting into our sports news, excitement is building for Namibia's final group match against Mali at San Pedro tonight with coach Colin Benjamin and captain Peter Shalulile both in an upbeat mood ahead of the clash. Today, the Brave Warriors of Namibia will face Mali in their last group match at 7 p.m. Namibia will be hoping for a second win at AFCON to secure their slot in the round of 16. The Namibians recorded a shock defeat over Tunisia in their opening match, but were thrashed 4-0 by southern neighbours Bafana Bafana. The Namibia Paralympic Committee is committed to having reasonable representation at this year's Paralympic Games scheduled for Paris, France from 28 August to the 8th of September. Namibia Paralympic Committee Secretary General Michael Hamukwaya said 2024 is an important year for local Paralympic athletes to qualify for the Games in France. The much-awaited AN Grand Prix for 2024 will kick off in Swakopmund on Saturday, with the second Grand Prix scheduled for the 10th of February in Windhoek and the third penciled for the 2nd of March at the Oshakati Independence Stadium. And the last of our sports stories, 9 of the 12 active regions of Netball Namibia have requested that the Chief Administrator of the Namibia Sports Commission, Freddie Muya, organize an annual general meeting, which they claim the board has failed to do. Stick around, we'll be right back with the highlights from today's broadcast right after this. You're watching NMH at 1. If you're just joining us, here are the news highlights. Kenyan cult leader Paul Mackenzie has been charged with 238 counts of manslaughter, along with his wife and 93 other alleged accomplices. In international news, Canada this week announced a 2-year cap on international student visas to ease the pressure on housing, healthcare, and other services at a time of record immigration. And in sports, excitement is building for Namibia's final group match against Mali at San Pedro tonight with coach Colin Benjamin and captain Peter Shalulile both in an upbeat mood ahead of the clash. We do wish the Brave Warriors the best of luck. And that brings us to the end of our show. You can catch us again tomorrow, same time, same place. Until then, it's goodbye.